getting started on the carnivore diet isn't necessarily as easy as some people make it sound. There are things that you need to make sure that you do, things that you watch out for and stay away from, and so forth. And today, I'm going to talk a little bit about getting started on the carnivore diet. Now, my name is Brian. I've been doing the carnivore diet for over 3 years now, and I've lost over 85 pounds, healed a lot of different health issues, and so forth with the carnivore diet. And I also learned different mistakes that I made and so forth. And I'm going to share some of that with you today so that if you're just getting started on the carnivore diet, you have a better chance to succeed than somebody that's coming into it blindly. All right. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is the probably the most important piece. And this is that you really, really should just transition into the carnivore diet from what you were doing before. Most likely, you were eating a hefty amount of carbs, standard type of diet that has a lot of carbs, probably low fat, that kind of thing. And if you just jump straight into the carnivore diet, you're going to be wreaking havoc with your body. Now, some people don't see a lot of issue and they're okay if they just jump in, but a lot of people do have problems. And these can be problems from, having diarrhea, going to the bathroom a lot, having stomach cramps, low energy, um, and then even more, worse things like um, having problems with your gut microbiome getting messed up, and that kind of stuff. So it is better to transition over a good 4 to 6 weeks, slowly reduce the intake of carbohydrates in your diet and slowly increase the fat intake in your diet. So that's the first big key thing. The next thing that you want to consider once you're kind of getting over that transition period, and even really in the transition period, is don't just jump into 1 or 2 meals a day because that's what everybody on YouTube is saying that they're doing or that you should do. You want to start out eating the same amount of meals as you were eating before. If you were eating 3 meals a day, then you start out eating 3 meals a day. If you were eating 4 meals a day, then start with 4 and try and get down to 3 fairly quickly. So the idea here is 3 to 4 meals a day, like you were probably doing before, and do that for a good 2 weeks of carnivore. So after the transition period where you're eating the really high fatty meat and you've reduced your carbohydrates and all that stuff. So you're not eating those anymore, right? So do that for a good couple of weeks where you're eating those 3 meals. You're going to eat until you really, really, truly feel full. So not just start to kind of feel full, but you really, truly feel full, like you don't want to eat anymore. The food doesn't taste that good anymore, that type of thing. And then you're going to eat again like you normally would. You're going to do that, your 3 to 4 times a day. Okay. I understand that fairly quickly you're going to find that it's not going to be so easy to do that anymore. You're not going to be hungry, but you still, those first couple of weeks, you want to do that. It's kind of like a priming period. You'll hear different people call that it's priming, a couple of weeks of priming. So you're going to do that for a couple of weeks. And then you're going to slowly start to reduce your meals. Maybe you just go down to 2 meals and you stick with 2 meals, or maybe you eventually get down to 1 meal, but you're going to get to the point of where you're listening to your body and you're just eating when you're truly hungry, and then eating until, like I said before, you're really full. You feel like you just can't eat anymore. The food doesn't taste that good anymore, that kind of thing. So that's how you're going to do that. And those are two of the best tips: the transition and the starting with the same amount of meals, doing it for a couple weeks, and then starting to transition downward. Those are the best tips you can have that are going to give you the best chance to succeed in that first 30, 60, 90 days on the carnivore diet. There's too many people that end up struggling early on, and those two things are going to help you considerably. In terms of the transition, it's going to help you from losing too much of your electrolytes in the beginning. You still might need to add a little bit of an electrolyte mix or something those first few weeks, but it's going to help you out considerably there. You shouldn't have quite the big problem with the gut, because you're slowly changing your gut microbe as you're, changing the diet, transitioning those 4 to 6 weeks, and you're not as likely to get the headaches, the diarrhea. You might still have some, but if you slowly are increasing that fat intake, you shouldn't see as much of the diarrhea and that kind of stuff as well. And then, of course, the priming, it's getting a lot of good nutrients in you, and it's getting you ready to really succeed on the carnivore diet. Now, I have plenty of other videos out there. I have a video that talks about the five biggest mistakes, basically, that carnivores make. And go ahead and check this video out, and I'll see you over there in that one.